Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Inside the Vinyl. I'm your host, Tim Bianconi. If you could go ahead and like and share this video as well as subscribe to my channel, that would be greatly appreciated. I want to shift my focus back over to my live album series, and this would be number 2 of my live album series. And this time, I want to focus on the 1973 double album, Deep Purple's Made in Japan. So again, like I said, this was released in April of 1973 in America. It actually came out in the UK in December of 1972. And it was recorded over 3 shows in Japan, a couple in Osaka as well as Tokyo. And apparently, initially the idea was it would be an album, it would be a live album for Japanese release only. The band would have complete creative control over it, and if they didn't like it, it wouldn't come out. And when they listened back to the tapes, they were just overwhelmed with how good they were and decided to go ahead and release it everywhere. Now, the label was a little bit hesitant to release this album because they wanted the new studio album. But, you know, they went ahead and let them release it. And again, that came out in April of 1973. The album itself made it as high as number 6 on the Billboard charts. And actually is the reason that the song Smoke on the Water became popular. It wasn't necessarily the version from Machine Head that initially made it a hit. Apparently it was the version of Made in Japan here that drove Smoke on the Water up to the charts, eventually reaching number 4 on the singles charts, which is amazing. Now what you're looking at here is the Friday Music reissue, and funny story behind this is that when I first got back into collecting vinyl, you know, some of the bands I really wanted to have full collections of were like the Deep Purples, Kiss, Aerosmith, Pink Floyd, you know, different bands like that. And when I was going around looking for all the Deep Purple records, I pretty much found everything from the 70s and even the late 60s real easy. But for whatever reason, I could not find this album in a used record store. So, you know, I was at the mall one day and I see the Friday Music reissue, but they wanted $40 for it. And to me, I'm like, that seems like a lot of money for, you know, something that I should be able to find at a used record store. But after searching and searching and searching, flea market after flea market, record store after record store, couldn't find it anywhere. I finally gave in and bought the $40 reissue, only to find about a week later, one of the record stores that I frequent, one of the used record stores I frequent, ended up getting one in, and it was priced at about $10. So, you know, if you're looking for something, especially like an old album, I mean, you can buy reissues if you want, but just be patient. You know, eventually one of your local used record stores should get something like this in, and you don't end up spending $30 extra that you don't need to spend like I did. That being said, that's the edition I have here, and I will say Friday Music does a really good job of reissuing albums. They're 180 gram. The sound quality is amazing. My only criticism is the liner notes. A lot of times they don't include like the inserts that may have been included in the originals with any sort of liner notes or anything else on them. And that's been my only criticism of Friday Music. But there have been other reissues of this in other formats, namely CDs and obviously digital. And we'll get back to the drawbacks of maybe just having the album as opposed to reissues in a moment. But I want to say, show is called Inside the Vinyl, so let's go ahead and take a look and see what we have here. So again, in case you can't see, here is the front cover. Deep Purple's Made in Japan. Hopefully I'm holding it up well. If not, it'll be above my head or below me. And here is the back cover with the track listing. There are 7 tracks on the album. But this was in the early 70s where bands would spend a lot of time jamming. So, it may only be 7 songs, but the album is like, well over an hour long. And there were a few songs that they played at these shows that weren't included on the vinyl issue, which we'll get back to that. So there you go. There's the cover. And then if we open up the inside, let's see if I can hold this up a little bit. You do have some liner notes in here as far as, like the track listing, when each one was recorded, a cool, like, I'm assuming that's kind of like, band pictures worked into, a replica of the Japanese flag. I might be wrong about that, and if I am, I truly apologize. I'm not the most enlightened man on the planet. But anyway, there you go. There's the inside. And, let's see. I don't think there's anything too special about these. And I know sometimes I spend a lot of time on these Inside the Vinyl shows showing you like, oh, look at every single record. It's just black vinyl. It looks the same, as everything. But we'll look at one of them. Okay. So here is your 180 gram black vinyl. Again, nothing special. Friday Music did do a good job of recreating the Warner Brothers middle stickers there, insert stickers, whatever you call those. So it looks authentic with the exception of the Friday Music logo at the top. But other than that, pretty cool. Again, nothing too special in here. No reason to go into the other record to see if it's any different, because I'm almost positive it's not. So there you go. So that's the, that's the gist of what's inside the vinyl there. So to kind of discuss the record a little bit, in my opinion, this is one of the cleanest, most pure sounding live records out there. Now, according to the band, they didn't do any overdubs, or they needed very little, studio work to get it ready. Who knows if that's true? It seems like every live album from the 70s, there seems to be somebody picking it apart saying this was live, this wasn't live, blah, 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 whatever. And I know there were some issues with the way they recorded live albums in the 70s. There were some drawbacks, like with vocals and some other things, but who knows? But whatever it is, this is a very clean sounding live record. And I think some of that may have to do with the Japanese audience. In America, you listen to an American live album or something recorded in America, and the fans are just going ape shit the whole time, losing their minds, all during the song and then after. The Japanese crowds were very, very quiet during songs, very respectful, wanted to listen, hear everything, and then they'd erupt after the song was over, So I think maybe that contributed to this album, and the recordings being so clean, is that there wasn't a whole lot of, hoopla and, weird, crazy shit going on like during the song. So again, one of the cleanest sounding records I've ever heard. Just an amazing live record from start to finish. I mean, Deep Purple, if you've ever seen them live, even to this day, as a band, as musicians, they are just absolutely amazing, no matter who's been in the band. So we start off with Highway Star, and just rip right from that into Child in Time, which is a bit of a long song and has a really long guitar solo piece in the middle of it that's really cool. And it's definitely, definitely shows off the vocal abilities of Ian Gillan. Then we get into side 2, which has the aforementioned Smoke on the Water. And again, the version on here is allegedly the version that actually made the song a hit. Then we go into The Mule, which includes an Ian Pace drum solo in the middle of it. Just amazing. And again, going back to how clean this record sounds, that drum solo is just precise, just not only the way he plays it, but just the way it sounds. It's amazing. We go to side 3, Strange Kind of Woman, cool song. And then we go into Lazy, which has a whole beginning piece with John Lord, doing a whole, solo in the organ and all that before it gets in. And him and Richie Blackmore have a lot of interplay before the song really kicks in. And then the last track on, which is on side 4, which is by itself, because it's like, I think it's almost 20 minutes long, is Space Truckin'. And it says it's just Space Truckin', but they actually go into what I think is Mandrake Root. At least a piece of Mandrake Root, like after the core of Space Truckin' is over, they would always go into a long jam session, and I'm almost positive that jam session kind of starts and is centered around the breakdown of an old early Deep Purple tune called Mandrake Root. If I'm wrong about that, I'll put a correction up somewhere. Now, going back to what I was saying earlier, there are other deluxe versions and reissues, like on CD and digital and whatever. And some of those do include some extra tracks that were played at those shows. So, and I'm not going to get into which night was which one, but on those extra night, of those 3 nights that were recorded for this album, they would also play Black Knight, which was another big hit of theirs in Europe and England. Speed King, which is off Deep Purple and Rock, and then a song called Lucille, which I think is an old B.B. King number. I'm not entirely sure about that again. I might just be confusing that with the name of his guitar. Again, if I'm wrong, I'll put a correction up somewhere. But again, 3 amazing tracks. It does kind of stink. I mean, I guess, how big of a album set can you make, especially back in the 70s? I don't think you could afford to make a 3 or 4 album set back in those days. And there's only so much room, for music and stuff on these vinyl collections. So maybe that's why they were left off. It's kind of sad because Black Knight live, especially in those days, was just a balls out rocker. It was amazing. But check those out. You can get that on like iTunes or any other digital format. I'm sure you can find the Made in Japan deluxe reissues on CD from Amazon or wherever else. And then also, if you want to hear all 3 shows in completion or in their entirety, there is a CD set called Live in Japan. I think it's a 3-disc set. It's 3 CDs or maybe more. I'm not entirely sure. But it actually has all 3 shows, full shows, that were recorded to make Made in Japan. So check those out. Again, like I said, I don't know that there's, too many cleaner sounding live records out there. And, this was one of many albums, live albums from the 70s that really set the stage. And it seemed like in the 70s, live albums could really just make or break bands. And in some cases, actually made them famous. So check it out. Deep Purple, 1973, live in Japan, made in Japan. An absolutely fantastic live record. So that's all I've got for you today. Check out my channel, check out my other videos. I've got my Inside the Vinyl series, I've got Lost Classics, I've got live albums. I've also got several unboxing the vinyl videos out there where I unbox box sets and special editions and things, so check those out. I've also got some concert footage from some fucking festivals a couple of years ago. Welcome to Rockville, Exit 111. And I've also got some pretty crappy disc golf videos out there too if you want to check that out. So again, like and share my video, subscribe to my channel, and we will see you next time. Peace out.
Get in that pool. Get in that pool.